Hi, hi, hi. Good day, and I am back for another mentoring session. Now, our topic for today is about how to design tables based on the problem statements. All right, so I prepared this video in order to answer some of the basic questions regarding this, especially to undergrad students, beginner researchers. Well, definitely these are some of the questions asked by the students after generating their data. Ayan na ang mga data, nakuha na, natali na, na-process na, paano naman nila ito i-convert into presentation, into table, into graph, into charts. But today I will be focusing on the basic, which is how to prepare a table for those data already processed. Now, sa ibang university, this particular portion is about chapter 4. However, some college and university um, make it chapter 3. Okay, regardless of the chapter, the procedure remains the same. Okay, so never mind with the chapter numbering. Now, mahalaga na meron tayong baseline, basically the title. So we will be guided as we go through the process of presenting the data. So for example, social media marketing campaigns and its relation to the buying behavior of the blank location. Okay, so it is a must that when we prepare our uh, chapter for this, we always be reminded of the problem statement raised in chapter 1, the previous chapter, to make it sure that the answer raised in the previous chapter will now be given the way not to be presented. So as beginners, we require them to first write the statement of the problem. So isusulat muna nila yung statement of the problem and then come up with a table or chart, okay, or graph to present the data. So in this case, we will be using table. Okay, so for example, in terms of age profile, okay, so the first column here is about the bracket. Okay, so the first column is about the age brackets. And then um, uh, the next column is about how many counts in there based on data you have as far as age bracket is concerned. The third column is about the computation of percentage. So ilalagay dyan kung ilang percent ang ages 8 to 12, 13 to 18, something like that. And then you will be able to come up with the rank. So irarank ninyo yan. Well, I have already lecture or I have already video on how to come up with the ranking. Okay, so we're done with the first profile as stated under statement of the problem number 1. So that is very important. Take note ninyo na dapat isusulat nyo muna yung statement of the problem. And then after that, saka ninyo ilalagay yung inyong discussion about the table. No? For example, the above table presents the blah blah blah. So you are like converting the content of the above table into a paragraph. Of course, with all the necessary details na kailangan ninyong ilagay dyan, dapat i-discuss yan. So there is another paragraph also that would tell the reader what is the implication, what is the general information about the data. No? How is it related to the data presented in the literature? So something like that. and then the next table will be the next profile indicated in the problem statement, and so on and so forth. Okay, now when it comes to designing and numbering your table, okay, it is suggested also that the researcher will just use a continuous table numbering, such as table 1, table 2, table 3, and so on. So this area refers to the second problem statement stated in chapter 1. So, sabi dito, what is the influence of social media marketing campaigns, okay, to the buying behavior of the customers, for example? So, we are referring now to table 3 as a continuous numbering of the table. So, in terms of what? So, in terms of price. So, itong mga variable na ito, no, in terms of price, and so on, ito yung mga nakikita din natin doon sa questionnaire mismo, no? Sa questionnaire. So, what you will do is indicate, no, all the indicators also presented in the customer, in the questionnaire rather. So, just copy and paste the indicators, and then um, the next column is about your WM, or the weighted mean. So, of course, ito yung results ng inyong computation using the Likert scale, no? Using the data or numbers or scores in the Likert scale, no? Likert scale like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever scale, 4, 3, 2, 1, something like that. So this is the overall weighted mean, no? And then the third column will be the verbal interpretation. Okay, so based on the legend, dapat meron din kayong legend, no? Actually, na ilalagay, um, ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? What is the verbal description for that? Okay, and then um, you rank them, no? You rank them accordingly. So for purposes of this presentation, hindi ko na nilagay yung legend, but on your actual writing, dapat naglalagay talaga kayo somewhere below the table or somewhere above, no, the table, your legend, no, what is 5, what is 4, what is 3, what is 2, what is 1, no, based on verbal interpretation, such as strongly agree, agree, okay, moderately agree, disagree, strongly disagree, or other terms, no, used, no, to measure the level of perception, okay, or the level of responses. So, yan, that is a reminder. You need to indicate the legend of your numerical and verbal interpretations. Okay, so that's clear. Now, another table still under SOP, or problem statement number 2. Now, another variable is about advertisements. So again, all you need to do is to copy and paste all the variables indicated in your questionnaire, and then indicate here in the column 2 the overall weighted mean, no? Uh, yes, the numbers here are not more than 5. If you are using scale 1 to 5, then the numbers which should be appearing here should not be more than 5. So it should be like 5, 4, 4.2, 4.5, 3, 3.2, and so on and so forth. And the same thing follows here. Okay, so there is another variable about experience. Okay, and this is under SOP, or problem statement number three. What is the level of buying behavior of the respondents in terms of experience? No, based on variable. So same thing happened. What are the indicators indicated in your questionnaire? Copy and paste here, and then compute the overall weighted mean. Copy and paste there. The verbal interpretation such as um, strongly disagree, agree, and all that, and all the rankings here. Another variable in terms of needs and wants. Okay, so the same procedure here, weighted mean, verbal interpretation, and ranking. All right. Now, another statement that you might have probably in your problem statement is as a statement, okay, uh, leading towards um, hypothesis, no creation of your hypothesis. For example, is there a significant relationship between social media marketing campaigns and the buying behavior of selected customers? Okay, may kaugnayan ba ang social media marketing efforts no, ng company with the buying behavior of the customer? All right. So, depending on the appropriate statistical treatment no, that you are using, the design usually looks the same, the design of this. So the common design is this one. No? So in this particular study, the researcher used Wilcoxon W test and p-values. Why is it so? Because itong mga statistical treatments kasi ay merong yung mga tinatawag na non-parametric and parametric statistics. So, since the researcher used Wilcoxon, it seems and it means that the study is non-parametric. Therefore, the scores are not, no, the data are not coming from the random sample or random respondents. Okay, so yeah, that's why the statistical treatment used is non-parametric Wilcoxon. Okay, so your statistician can also give you guidance regarding this matter, but as far as presenting your data is concerned, so this is it. Disregard the type of statistical treatment. So basically, you have your calculated value. All right. So this is the result. No, after calculating, no, using the formula of a specific um, statistical treatment, the result is here. You are going to indicate the result here. Okay. For example, the result is um, 1, 2, 4. For example, all right. So we put decimal no, to make it a bit unique. So 12.4. For example, the critical value is um, uh, 8.75. Alright, so where can we get the critical value? Saan manggagaling ang critical value? Ito yung mga nasa standard tables no, na makikita natin online. Okay, ito yung mga values indicated in the statistics books no, uh, sa bandang likuran no, sa pinakadulo ng mga statistics books. These are already standard values no, pre-calculated. Okay, so critical values and the p-value, which is having an alpha or reference of 0.05 or 5%. This is also referring to the 5% margin of error. Okay. So, for example, uh, upon computation no, of the value of P or the probability For example, the result is 0.20, um, 0. Let's say, um, okay, so z- 0 2. Okay, and then this portion is allotted for the decision. No, decision refers to um, whether you reject or whether you accept. Okay, pwedeng reject or pwedeng accept the null hypothesis, raised in chapter 1. So, as far as interpretation, this is where you are going to state that the study based on data, okay, is significant. I'm writing it now. Significant, or it can also be either not significant. Okay, the relationship is significant, or the relationship is not significant. Well, there will be no a separate uh, discussion on that, no, because statistics requires also a little thorough discussion and explanation, right? So for this purpose, your table representing the statistical treatments, the data derived from all the computations related to deciding whether the relationship is significant or not, and ito ang table na kailangan ninyong i-design. Okay? So, yan. For this purpose, pasadahan natin, okay? Pasadahan natin yung decision. Okay? So, this is the rule, in deciding whether the researcher has to reject or has to accept the null hypothesis. No? For example, if the using the calculated and critical value, okay, if the calculated calculated value is greater greater than the critical value, okay, the researcher has to reject the null hypothesis. That is the rule. That is the standard rule. Okay? So that's one. Okay, lalagyan natin ng bullet. Okay? The other way around is simply like this. If the cal value is less than the critical value, the researcher has to accept the null hypothesis. Okay. So the question now, what is that specific null hypothesis that the researcher needs to reject or accept? Okay, so babalikan natin yung statement ng hypothesis, no? Sabi dito, there is significant relationship there. There is, okay, buying behavior of selected customer. So the null hypothesis looks like this. The original, no, which you can find uh, the null hypothesis in chapter 1. The original statement looks like this. Okay, so mhm. So there is no to make it null. Okay, so this is the original statement stated in chapter 1. Okay, so ganyan. There is no significant relationship between. Okay, so take it literal, no? Literally. All right. So based on our computation above, okay, based on our computation above, let's check, no, if the researcher has to reject or accept, and the researcher has to interpret it as significant or not significant. I mean, the relationship is significant or not significant. Okay po. So, tingnan natin dito. So, let us first erase this. Later on, we're going to indicate, no, the appropriate um, word, no, for that. Okay. So, what specific rules, no, this particular combination, the calculated and the critical value falls in. Okay, so if the calculated value is greater, because 12 is greater than 8.75, so it falls under this rule. If the calculated value is greater than critical value, reject the null hypothesis. So therefore, the researcher will write here, reject null hypothesis. So when you reject the null hypothesis, you must go back, no, to the um, original hypothesis, like here below. Okay, I want to make it bolder. All right. So, are you going to reject this? Yes, because based on data, based on the calculation, dapat siyang i-reject, no? So sabi, there is no significant relationship between social media marketing campaigns and the buying behavior selected customers. I-reject mo yan, no? Outright rejection. So if you reject this, it means that the statement should go the other way around. This is now the alternative hypothesis. So, since you reject the null, the alternative hypothesis shall be the one, okay, be held, no, by the researcher. Ito yun. So, in other words, there is. Alright, so let us color this blue. So simply take it literally because the decision tells you reject, not accept. Okay, not accept. If the decision based on the computation of the two values, critical and calculated values, tells you that you accept, then no double thinking is needed. You need to outrightly accept this statement as it is. No? But since the decision tells you reject the null hypothesis, then you need to consider the other side of the possibility, which is there is, okay? There is a significant relationship. Okay, so the relationship is significant, no? Significant. The interpretation is there is significant relationship. So what does it mean? Okay, what does it mean? The efforts of the business, to go about social media marketing, in terms of rigid campaigning, promotions related to social media marketing, okay, resulted to a good buying behavior or buying behavior. So it is a direct proportional relationship. If the good, if social media marketing campaign is excellent, then the buying behavior of the customer goes with it. Okay, if the marketing campaign goes up in terms of uh, score, responses, the buying behavior follows to go up also. So there is what a directly proportional relationship. All right. So that's it. Okay. So I will be posting this on your respective links so that you will be considering this uh, lecture or instruction about how are you going to design your table, present your table in chapter 3 or chapter 4 of your manuscript. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you so much and God bless everyone.